Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Artcast. Today we'll be discussing, I suppose, phone apps to start, because as you can see from the unusual footage, I produced this on a phone. One of my infamous phone sketches that I cleaned up. Only this time we actually have footage of it. I've been using a program called PaintX. Doesn't that just roll off the tongue? And it has the ability to format or export files as video, as MP4s. And I drew this during my my little quote-unquote vacation out to my uncle's to help him construct several rooms in a housing project that he has. He's a semi-retired constructionist. And I drew this picture of Trixie in between, breaks. It's interesting the way that this program exports this image, because it records every stroke, which is a godsend. I have long wished that there was some sort of program out there that would do this, that I could apply to the computer. Go into the programs I like and tell it to, whenever I move the mouse, record. And whenever there's no movement of any kind from the mouse, do not record. That would save so much time in editing, because it would be purely movements that it would record. There are several other programs that do this. I think Procreate on your iPods, your newfangled iPods, the iPad, I think, has that sort of time-lapse setting, which I'm not sure if it's recognized by stroke or time. I know I had another program that I used for several years, but then they updated something they updated it, and the pen never worked right again. I have it here. I guess it was just called Painter. See, I have several on my phone right now. I've got Auto Sketchbook, which I don't like. I have Medibang Paint, M-E-D-I Bang Paint. That probably has the best stabilizer for phone apps. It's still not... I'm so used to Paint Tool Saya. I'm still not quite... I miss the ability to add new layers, because I have that hotkeyed, and I just add a layer and then draw a line, and then I erase whatever I don't need. As you can see right there, I just erased Trixie's elbow. And that's one trick I used to use when I didn't have a screen monitor. When you have a pad, you create a new line, and then you manipulate the line to fit in with the figure. And that saves somewhat of a lot of time. I mean, I'm glad I have my new screen monitor, because that helps immensely, because I will redraw lines still, because of course you're not happy with your first attempts, but I will not spend as much time trying to get the exact line I need, because I've already created it, because it's a one-to-one movement between my eye, my hand, and the interface. It's not looking up at the screen and then moving your hand and then hoping that things work out okay. But getting back to my hopes for speed drawings, or creating these, Ibis PaintX goes about creating these media files, or these video files, in a very weird way. It will ask you the duration of the clip, so anywhere between 30 and 300 seconds. And it's I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. Okay, when I'm editing a video, I can take the video and I can say, I want this clip to be a minute long. And I can either compress that or I can stretch that by editing the time of the clip. Like, okay, let's see. If the clip is 3 minutes long, I'll speed it up 300%, and that'll give me the minute I need. Or I can slow it down. Negative 300 would make it reverse. 25%. Oh well, anyway, the point is you can slow and speed up the clip to fit in the amount of time you want. And that's what I thought that this would do. I thought it would record every mark I make and then to say, well, do you want everything to run at in between 30 seconds or 300? But no, it doesn't do that. It just records everything and then says, how long do you want the video file to be? And I say 300, and it says fine. And so it'll give me about maybe a minute worth of footage and then another minute of nothing because I've already finished what I was drawing. I stopped drawing there, and it just keeps going. So it's like, oh, so it only records up to 300 seconds, which I've never done on this phone usually, because like I said, it's so efficient. It only records you making a mark. It doesn't record you doing anything else. So I never use up the entire 300 seconds. But it is unnerving if I were to say try to make a more advanced drawing. I don't think I ever would. I only use the phone for crude sketches because I can't get enough detail work into the phone, and I don't want to put as much time, and I never would because I know I can take this home and I can clean it up in way better than I could just wasting my time tediously pecking at the phone. I was away from the computer for a night. And I did manage to post something that I made purely on the phone. It was this weird little weapon thing, and I used the symmetry tool, and the edges weren't clean, and it just didn't. No, you can't get. There's not an app on the phone quite yet that'll give you a clean detail. The tablets, sure. You can get actually a lot of detail on tablets, especially the combination of the new iPad and the iPen, which I would look into, but then again, that seems like a more of a sit-down situation. Whenever I go out and I'm running errands, it's always a hit and run or like a stop and go with these drawings, because there's always something to do. And if I had an iPad and an iPen, it's not cost effective because I would be drawing and then I would be home soon afterwards, and then I could just go into my computer and use the programs I like. But I have seen some impressive stuff with the iPad and the new pen. I was thinking about just getting a pen and using an old iPad I have access to, but then I found out that they're incompatible. So that was scuttlebutted. Like I said, I used to have a really good program called Painter, and it had an excellent pen setting. But they did something with they updated it, and it just turned to crap. So I got rid of that after spending about $7 on it. Shit. Oh, and you also have to watch out, because if you get a new phone, some of them will let you reinstall on your other phone because you have your account with them, and then some don't. A lot of programs will not let you reinstall the same app on different phones. I found that out when I bought a teleprompter application. So you got to watch out and read the fine print. Painter had the same sort of compression speed video thing. I think it did have the option between workflow and time lapse, which workflow is where it just records every mark you make and plays it back. And I think at the speed of where from start to end, it's just all your work. And then workflow is the pure time. It records everything, even inactivity from you. So yeah, there you go. I also have something called floating apps. Now I would advise, I'm not sure about this. I can't give my stamp of approval. I mean, it works great. It basically allows you to open up an image, a floating window image of any reference you want. It's just sort of handy. I mean, the screen on the phone is so damn small. It's hard to actually get any detail work, and it's especially hard to actually look at detailed references, which I could have actually used on this, getting back to the Trixie drawing. When I got home and I drew this from memory, and when I actually looked at some references, I realized that her cheek curve that makes up her head is way too shallow. It should be jutting out a bit more, as you'll see when some references pop up. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, I can't advise against floating apps because for some reason, as soon as I installed floating apps on my old phone, that's when I started having trouble with it. But I think that's just because it was like a 3-year-old phone, and I think I read reviews that what do you call it? Would you call it a CPU? Whatever. The brain burns out after a while. I got a new Samsung this year. It's very nice. I got it for my birthday. But yeah, it's just trying to develop a workflow around being a nomad. I guess that's what you'd call it, and being a nomad artist. A digital nomad artist. If I were a better artist, I could just take a sketch pad and go around and do things from memory. Actually, I guess I did pretty good on this. It's just like one of her little classic poses. Speaking of, I guess we'll go all in on how I make these speed drawings. I used to use a program called I'll look on my old computer and maybe get a screen grab. But when I first started this, I tried to use OBS because everyone said OBS is awesome. But my old clunker laptop, actually it wasn't a clunker, it was an $800 laptop when I first bought it like 5 years ago. Oh, bird. It wouldn't run OBS for some reason. Because OBS needed something. It needed like, I don't know. I forget what it was. It was another program, but my laptop wouldn't take it. Actually, it's about as off model as it gets. At least from sometimes on the show. But yeah, her cheek is way too shallow. It should be a little more. I think maybe the ear's a little bit too high. But other than that, good attempt from memory. Anyway, I had to find an alternative program, and I found that, and I started to record all these speed drawings. But then it recorded in a weird format that my video editor couldn't read. And Lightworks is like that. Lightworks is super finicky. I suggest if I had my druthers, I would go back in time and say, hey, look into DaVinci Resolve as an alternative, because Lightworks is a really powerful program and it's free, and so is DaVinci Resolve. Both of them are. But Lightworks is super finicky with the type of footage that it will allow in its program. And sometimes the video that it does allow, the video is super off sync. So you have to run through a conversion, like a converter like iframe. They advertise the hell out of that one, and that's a free program too. And that just blows up the media files. It just takes up so much space. So speed drawings were not viable in any regard because they just took up way too much time. It was way too tedious. It was just a pain in the ass. And then I moved on to working on just a desktop, which is, of course, is just a much more powerful piece of equipment. I mean, for the cost, I spent like $200 on a new desktop for Grandma, and which then sort of she started using her tablet more for everything that she needed, and that computer went to waste. So I started using it, and because because I just confiscated it because she wasn't using it. It was kind of infuriating. It's like, okay, Grandma, here's your new computer. Okay, I'm just gonna check my email. It's like, oh God, you got like a terabyte of memory on that thing. Use it. So anyway, I confiscated it and started working with it, and I was able to access OBS. And OBS is wonderful because you can save all your footage in a MOV file, which Lightworks just loves, and DaVinci Resolve has no problem reading, and there's no waiting 4 hours for a conversion and then having that blow up to like 20 gigs on your portable hard drive. So yeah, maybe about 6 months ago, I discovered that that speed drawing was another. Again, I was able to do it, and just basically, I've got like maybe 5 other video files waiting just to have Artcasts over. Anyway, there's the finished project. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want to ask me some questions that I could answer on future Artcasts, then you can follow me at rblueboy777, and follow all the other social links in the description below. And I will talk to you guys later in another one of these. Take care, enjoy yourself, and see you next time. Bye.